Explore Hadrian's Wall with us as we walk coast to coast in 8 days. Today, we see our first stretch of Hadrian's Wall as we walk from Newburn to Wall Houses. We start the day with a hearty English breakfast and a little dance in the hotel room. Then we hit the trail. Today we get out into the English countryside, most of it on paths like this or walking through farm fields. But today, we'll also see our first preserved stretch of Hadrian's Wall. As we came out into this field and looked up at that small town on the top of the hill, we didn't yet realize that we were going to be climbing up there. We pushed our way through the woods and along a golf course, which reminded us how close we are to Scotland. We also needed a few minutes to adjust our gear. For the first few days of our trip, we carried way too much water with us, and therefore were hauling a lot of weight up and down these hills. It took a little while to sort out the proper amount of water and the right rain gear to bring with us, and how to choose our gear wisely. We had a porter taking our luggage between hotels, so it made sense to pack up everything we didn't need to carry on the daily hikes. Here we climb up into the town of Hadrian on the Wall, the little town we saw earlier. It's named for its preserved stretch of Hadrian's Wall. A local gentleman was kind enough to give us some directions. The British are super polite and helpful. And then the sign pointed us up the side streets toward the wall. Ironically, even though there was another sign up here at the top of the hill, we struggled to find the wall. We looked around for a bit, over the fence and in the field, but we actually didn't see the wall at all. It was a little bit confusing. Of course, I know now it's behind this hedge, but we wandered around for a few minutes before this little black cat came out to say hello. Being cat lovers, we stopped to say hi, and the little guy led us right down to our first view of Hadrian's Wall. It's a beautifully preserved stretch, and it runs across the top of this hill. Now we knew we were truly on the wall itself. Of course, the cat was really cute, and we had to take some time to give him some pets. The ditch you see on the left is known as the Vallum. It's the ditch that the Romans built as an extra line of defense in front of the wall. We'll see a lot of that today because even though most of the wall has been stripped away for its stone in a lot of places, the Vallum remains. It's important after petting strange animals to sanitize your hands. We hit the trail and immediately ran into these folks from Manchester, who you'll see again because they were making the same hike as we were. Into town and a quick stop for snacks, and then it was time to get out into the English countryside. The road here is known as the Military Road, and it's the same road that the Romans built to serve the soldiers on the wall. The modern version has just been paved, but it runs along the length of the wall for the whole trip and is now just a modern highway that connects Newcastle to Carlisle. One thing about walking Hadrian's Wall is that it seems slow, but at the same time things change quickly. After lunch in this farmer's field, we came across the street and were immediately on an unpreserved Roman fort. This mound of grass with sheep wandering across it is actually a Roman mile fort along the wall that remains buried. Which blows my mind when I think about all the episodes of Time Team I've seen where they dig every little farmer's field in England. Here's a known fort that just sits under a sheep pasture. From here, it was a long, beautiful day walking these gorgeous English country lanes along all these farm fields. You really got a sense of the countryside and also these gorgeous old paths that line the fields. It's hard to see, but on the left, behind this hedge in these weeds here, is the vallum. That's the Roman ditch that I told you about. And up ahead, we see our friends from Manchester that we met earlier. Like I said, they'll turn up a lot. We hiked a lot of English countryside, which you'd think would get boring, but truthfully, it's beautiful and it's easy walking. We had fun conversations and just spent a really lovely day together for this last little bit. We push up the hill into the town of East Wallhouses, which is the next town over from our destination. We had to go a little further, a few more fields, and past a nature preserve and reservoir before we'd hit our final destination. As your mind wanders, you think about all the people that have crossed this land over the years. The Picts and the Druids, the Celts and the Vikings, the Romans, and now the English and the Scottish. It seems so quiet today, but historically there were Roman forts and thousands of soldiers moving through this area. It's just amazing that so much of this history is preserved. Our final push would take us up through these last few fields. We were feeling pretty good. Today's walk was flat and we had lots of energy left. We knew that we were making good time, so we decided to have a little fun reenacting Russell Crowe's opening shot from the movie Gladiator, our homage to the cinema history of the ancient frontier. The last little push takes us through this field and up the hill to Wallhouses, where we would find ourselves at the historic Robin Hood Inn, a classic English pub. We dined on some locally grown food, drank some fresh brewed ale, and rested up for our next day on the wall. Check back soon as we continue hiking Hadrian's Wall from Wallhouses to the Roman fort at Chester's.